Mike Golic Jr. joining us on KCMO Talk Radio. Always great to have him on. He's doing an awesome show with DraftKings on his dad, GoJo and Golic, and he's joining us on KCMO Talk Radio. All right, Mike. Hey, by the way, how was your trip to Kansas City for Week 1 with the Lions? Did you enjoy your time at Arrowhead?
I had a blast. First time out there, and I said to someone I was talking to after, and they actually offered this up, that the Chiefs' environment at Arrowhead is probably the most like a college football atmosphere that you get. And that's an overwhelming compliment in the fan situation around there, in the way that people turned out for that event. So very cool, smelled great around there, 10 out of 10. No doubt.
Well, I was going to say, and you played at Notre Dame, so that's a high compliment. What's the best college environment that you've played in?
Ooh, played in. So I had a great time. My last year at Notre Dame in 2012, we went down on the road and played at Oklahoma. It was a night game. College game day was there. I think it was at least a top 15 matchup at that point. We were still kind of on our way up to eventually being ranked number 1 that season. But you see the whole stadium striped, fireworks going off before. At that point, Bob Stoops had lost like 4 or 5 home games in his entire career. So that was a cool atmosphere. It was a season where things were starting to go right for us, and it all kind of came together in that game.
Okay, well, that's a high compliment then for Arrowhead. So take me through, before we get to where the Chiefs are at right now, you're covering this as a national guy. You do the entire NFL. Where does the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, I don't want to call it nonsense because it's good for us, good for our business, but where does this factor in to your content, and how much attention are you giving it based on the feedback from the fans?
Oh, my brother in Christ, listen, I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. I went to 3 shows on this last tour.
Really?
This is my Super Bowl. I am at the center of the world's premier Venn diagram right now. And I have used this opportunity, and I have said, and I'll use your guys' platform to spread this too, I'm available for consulting. Because there's a lot of people on both sides right now in the Swift community. Listen, there are plenty of people like me, right? You've got Nicole Arbach over at The Athletic. You've got Nora Princiati over at The Ringer. Like really dedicated, great people covering the NFL who are also diehard Taylor Swift fans. Nora's kind of the authority on this. But again, as someone who's in the middle and understands there's a new audience coming into the NFL right now that they're trying to land the plane with, and there's a bunch of NFL fans that are getting introduced more so to Taylor Swift than maybe they had during this last year. Allow me to help everybody have the best time possible with this. I can get you all the background information you need on Taylor Swift, prior relationships, albums, songs you need to check out what went on in this tour. And for Swift fans, we can get you caught up to speed. Travis and Jason did a great job on their podcast. Any of the rules you need an update on. Travis's past, some of the things about this Chiefs offense and what Andy Reid's trying to do, especially post Tyreek Hill. We got you covered on every step of the way here at GoJo and Golic, so we were happy to consult and help the cause.
That is great. Mike Golic Jr., GoJo and Golic, doing the show with his dad, DraftKings Network, weekday mornings, 7 to 9 Central Time. So that being said, today's Travis Kelce's birthday. Rumors are obviously all over the place as to whether or not she's in town. Do you think that if she does make the trip to Minneapolis this weekend, CBS is going to lean into it, or do you think, they're going to back off because it seems like some NFL fans are getting sick of it?
Yeah, NFL fans need to get over it. Like, every broadcast since the dawn of time has been dedicated to the core base of NFL fans. God forbid Mike Tirico make a couple of Taylor Swift references in the broadcast, and they show the booth full of some of the most famous, attractive people on earth. God forbid. I call games for a living, too, in addition to the job I do now. And you know what one of the jobs is? When you know you got a new audience coming in, you welcome in that new audience. Usually they're coming over when you've switched channels or something like that, or joined after another event. But you know what? In this case, you had a new audience coming in. And you know what Mike Tirico did? The job. He welcomed in the audience because it's his job. And he made them feel at home because he's a good host. And that's what you do when you got a group of people that might not have been there before coming into your house. And so I hope CBS isn't cowards. And the fact that the NFL felt the need to address that and justify the coverage is laughable. Like, don't be bothered by the words of a couple of people that, you know what, are still going to be there.
Yes.
Any of the people complaining, I guarantee they're not turning off football this weekend. Hell no. You know how much worse stuff we've taken in as NFL fans and still come back for more on? this isn't going to be it. So CBS, if she's there, lean all the way in because you know what's good for you.
Preach! Mike Golic Jr. is joining us on KCMO Talk Radio. All right, on the field, you were here when the Chiefs lost to the Lions, so I don't know if we want you back, Mike. I don't know if you're the bad luck deal or what it is. But anyway, they've gotten 3 wins in a row. The schedule's fairly easy for the next couple of games. You got the Vikings, who have not looked like the team from last year that made the playoffs. The Broncos on Thursday Night Football. As you look at the AFC hierarchy right now, where do the Chiefs factor in?
Yeah, listen, I mean, the Patrick Mahomes brainworms that are lodged deep within my skull haven't at this point, like, right, I could look and make a case for Buffalo or Miami right now, right? They've played exemplary football. Buffalo with one of the best wins of the early season, taking that Miami squad to task after we saw them hang 1 billion points on the Denver Broncos right now, who are struggling mightily. But if you ask me down the road, hey, push comes to shove, if we get to meaningful football, who are you going to take? I made the mistake of picking the Eagles last year in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes did the thing I always expect him to do, somehow found a way to go and win that thing. And week one, they didn't have Travis Kelce on the field, and we saw, hey, maybe we've even somehow still underrated the importance of that guy to the offense, even though, and you guys know this better than anybody, the key to the Chiefs' offense has always been teams that have successfully been able to get hands on Travis Kelce early on in the snap, get hands on him near the line of scrimmage, have done the best job of unsettling what's still been one of the best offenses in the NFL, even as they change personnel. I think with their offensive line up front, especially that core guys in the middle, and now that you got Chris Jones back, this team is absolutely eye to eye with anyone you're going to talk about as an AFC contender, even if the numbers aren't necessarily as gaudy as Miami or as Buffalo, who's on a pretty good tear after that week one loss for them too.
Well, we'll be watching. We'll be following along. Mike Golic Jr. doing great work with Mike Golic Sr., of course. GoJo and Golic, weekdays from 7 to 9 Central Time, Samsung TV Plus, DraftKingsNetwork.com, and wherever you get your podcasts. Mike, always good to have you on. Thanks for joining us, and we'll get a win next time you're in town.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, you bet. That is Mike Golic Jr. on KCMO Talk Radio.